Well, hello, everyone. Go ahead and stand to your feet this morning. Welcome to Rancho. We're going to sing this first song. I love this song. This song is called Holy Water. If you know the words to this song, let's sing this out together. Come on. Sing that to him, say I don't wanna abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me wanna change. I don't wanna abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me wanna change. Your forgiveness. Sweet, sweet honey on my lips. It's like the sound of a symphony to my ears. It's like holy water. Your forgiveness. Sweet, sweet honey on my lips. Like the sound of a symphony to my ears. Like holy water on my skin. Like holy water on my skin. Like holy water. Ooh, yeah. Amen. 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 Well, I'm gonna tell you that now you know I really like that song. Now you know why.
And most of it is mostly because of Devin back here. Y'all give it up for Devin, our guitar player. Now, Devin, we're doing this thing where we're kind of talking back and forth. We want to create an atmosphere where you know who's on this stage. We know who you are. We're all worshiping together. So if you're wondering why we do things like this, we want that. We want this connection of a family worshiping together. So I'm going to ask Devin a couple of questions real quick. So Devin, how long have you been playing guitar?
I've been playing guitar about 16 years.
About 16 years. 16, yeah. I thought you said 6 last time. And it was very disappointing because I've been playing longer than 6 and I'm not that good. So
you're pretty good.
There was that. Okay, so 16 years and you've played with a long list of people. Name a few people that we would know that you have played with.
I've played with Katy Perry, CeeLo Green, Zayn, and Chainsmokers.
And who's your favorite?
Who's my favorite? Evan.
That's right. That's it.
Rancho worship.
Paycheck coming in the mail. Check is written. No. So just so all of you guys know, this is pro of pros, right? And I want to say something. I've told this to you before, and I'm saying it in front of a bunch of people now. If you take away all of the people that Devin has played with, and all the talent that she has, it is truly, and I'll say it again, it is an honor to be around you. It is truly an honor to be in your presence. You will be hard pressed to find someone with that much talent, with all your rap sheet, and still with that much humility. So it is amazing. Thank you. Y'all give it up for Devin.
Yeah, Devin. I love this next song we're about to sing, Rattle. It's one of my favorite songs. We introduced it in Easter. And the song really is just talking about like the rattle of dry bones coming to life. And I love like the words, I love when powerful words and music come together, like that musicality, and it just like kind of drives it home. And I love that this song, it talks about miracles. We're talking about like, we believe in miracles, that there will be a miracle in this room. And we don't just sing it because it rhymes, right? Or sing it because it sounds nice. Like we believe that God is doing the impossible. And we believe that the grave and the resurrection was a sign of that even death, nothing literally can come against God. And so this morning, as we're kind of talking about families and we're talking about relationships in this series with our circles, we just want to kind of keep that in the forefront of our mind. If there's like a relationship that just needs to come back to life this morning, will we just sing it, that we believe in the redemption? Let's just sing this song over that situation.
Come on, let's sing the song together if you know it. This song is called Rattle. Silent, surely it was through. But since when has impossible ever stopped you? Friday's disappointment is Sunday's empty tomb. And since when has impossible ever stopped you? Let's sing. This is the sound of the dry bones rattling. This is the praise, make a dead man walk again. So open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of the dry bones rattling.
It runs in my veins too, and I believe
God as this good God who is in the business of doing the impossible and miracles. And we cannot, as a church, ignore the pain that is going on in this world. And we cannot stay silent about some of the things that are just unjust. And so, Dion, I just want to ask you this morning. You are, for those of you that don't know, this is Dion. He's our justice pastor here at Rancho. And Dion, we just love you.
Love you all back.
And some people ask, what is a justice pastor? And really what you do is you do a really good job of just leading us into keeping justice for other people, justice for the oppressed in the forefront of our minds, as we believe that it was in Jesus' mind. And so would you just speak a little bit about, we know this has been a hard week of tragedy that has happened. Would you just speak and share a little bit about what's on your heart?
Yeah. Anybody who pays attention to anything media-wise or social media, we know that this has been a hard week and a half, 2 weeks in our nation. From the shootings that happened in Indianapolis and different people like Dante Wright passing, my heart just overflows and just is overwhelmed. And I just needed to turn to God, right? As I was thinking about the tragedy that happened in Indianapolis, the mother of the shooter wrote a letter to the audience, to everyone who was affected, and this is what she said. She said, "We are devastated at the loss of life caused as a result of Brandon's actions. Through the love of his family, we tried to get him the help he needed. Our sincerest and most heartfelt apologies go out to the victims of this senseless tragedy. We are so sorry for the pain and hurt being felt by the families and the entire Indianapolis community." And I was thinking about that, and I was like, what character, what peace, what clarity of mind to be able to address a whole city because of the pain that your son brought. And that is keeping up within the mind of God. And I just believe that the Holy Spirit gave her the words to say, because it's not an easy thing to recognize the pain that your son put on others and inflicted on others, and just took responsibility and said, I'm going to have an integrity in this moment. I just see her leaning on the word of God and leaning on the strength of God. And right now, I just want to offer this up to us as the people of God, that we have the answer. We have the balm of Gilead. We literally have the peace that this world is looking for. We literally carry the power of God in us. And I just want to, with you all, lift up these families in prayer and ask our God, the true and living God, to bless these people and to bless the families of these people. Matthew Alexander, Samaria Blackwell, who was 19 and the youngest of 4 siblings. The heartbreak her family must be feeling right now. Amir Jarrett Kaur Johal, Jasvinder Kaur, Amerjit Sekhan, Jaswinder Singh, Carly Smith, John Weezer. And I just think about the whole Sikh community that lost 4 people in this tragedy. And a lot of Sikhs have moved to that Indianapolis area to get jobs at this FedEx that this tragedy happened at. And a lot of times Sikhs are confused for Muslims because they wear the head wraps, but it's a totally different religion from a totally different part of the world. And I just know, because I know Jesus and because you know Jesus, we can pray for them. We can ask our God to comfort them and to give them peace, because he's the only one who can. And so as we mention those families, the whole praise team, instrumentalists, everybody in the church, let's just ask God to bless them right now. As a people, let's bombard heaven and let's fill up the bowls of prayer that are in heaven in the name of Jesus.
That's right, Dion. I love that you said that. That just took like the Holy Spirit. That's God's love right there for that mom, not to just be defensive. And she's going through her own hurt. I mean, I cannot imagine as a mom. And for her to be caring for others and seeing others and empathizing and mourning with those who are mourning. And I love so much the song that we're about to sing kind of talks about building our life on the foundation of God's love. If we don't have God's love as our foundation, we're not going to be able to survive in this world. And all the heartache that has happened, not just last week, but all year.
That's true.
Let's go ahead and just sing this song and lift up our praises.
bless this church and bless this nation. In Jesus' name.
Worthy of every song we could ever sing. Worthy of all the praise we could ever pray. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes and wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Let's sing this out. Say worthy. Worthy of every song we could ever sing. Yes, you are. Worthy of all the praise we could ever bring. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Say Jesus. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you, and oh, we live for you. Say holy, holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes and wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those that say holy. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes and wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Oh, we build our lives on Jesus. Come on, let's sing this outside. And I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation. I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. Lift your voice.
Lord, we thank you that we have your name as a firm foundation for our lives. That as we build the foundation of our life on your love, God, Lord, that we begin to love like you. You begin to fill us and show us and lead us in love to those around us. Help us to be the light to the people in our circles. Help us to be the light to the people that see us, that call us friend, that call us family. Help us, God, to be more like you and advance your cause. In the precious name of Jesus, we pray. And everyone said, amen. 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 You all may be seated this morning.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Rancho. How are y'all doing this morning? Welcome to Wagar Live. What's going on at Rancho? My name is Megan, and I'm the next gen pastor here at Rancho. And we have, shout out to our youth group back there in the corner. Woo, love you guys. If there's any youth in this service, middle school and high school, you can get up from your parents and head on out the door if you like, because we kind of party out there. And I'm with Cherie here, Chief Executive Pastor of Operations. I just made that up. I'm blending all your things together. That was actually good.
It's cool.
It's
cool.
Something like that. She does everything, basically. She makes sure the Rancho world's running smoothly. So, what's up, Cherie?
Little this, little that.
Yeah, that's what she does. Little this, little that everywhere. Hey, if you're new here this morning, we just want to say welcome. We're so excited that you guys are here. And we want to invite you to text the word new to the number on the screen. And then we also have a little welcome table out front if you didn't stop by there on your way in, that we have some stuff that we want to give you some information. And also, if you have any questions ever about anything going on at Rancho, you can email us at info@rancho.tv. You can send your prayer requests there as well. We would love to pray with you guys. And if you want to give and support to the ministries here at Rancho, we really are working on bringing mercy, justice, and love to the world around us and in our communities. You can give at rancho.tv/giving. And the other thing that I want to just talk about Cherie a little bit is, Cherie, you're not just kind of running the world here, signing my checks, stuff like that, but you also have a huge heart for our special needs community, and just a huge heart to see just kind of that love brought to this community, that inclusiveness in this community that is sometimes shut out. Why don't you share a little bit more about that and then how we can come alongside you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have a huge heart for the special needs ministry, and I'm so proud of Rancho because we are one of the few churches even around in this area that is able to have a special needs ministry. People don't really know much about it, and it's an amazing ministry. These families are in such need, and we do a camp every summer. Last year, our camp was canceled.
Oh, so sad.
It was so sad. We got phone calls. I got texts every day, and people were heartbroken. It's a big deal for this community. I'm excited to say that in 96 days, and I know that because one of my campers texts me every morning to tell me how many days it is till camp, we will be doing camp again this summer.
Yay!
And so we are all, you can clap. We're super excited. The kids are excited.
Yes.
And I want to share a video with you guys just to show you a little glimpse of what we do.
Cool.
No matter the bumps, no matter the bruises, no matter the scars, still the truth is the cross has made, the cross has made you flawless, has made you flawless. No matter the bumps, no matter the bruises, no matter the scars, still the truth is the cross has made, the cross has made you flawless.
Oh, I love that. That's a beautiful video.
So I don't think I can smile any bigger when I see that video and hear that song. They are flawless. We are all created in the image of God.
That's right.
And I think what people don't understand is that for families that are affected with disabilities, it's a 24/7 lifetime commitment.
Yeah.
So we usually have our kiddos, they get to 18, maybe to 16 if we don't really want them around, right?
Yeah.
And we kind of push them on out the door. These families, this is something that is every day for the rest of their life. We have a 92-year-old at camp that takes care of her 67-year-old Down syndrome son.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
incredible.
forever. It's a lot. So what we need is we need help for camp this year. So you can partner with us, and there's a few ways you can do that. We need short-term missionaries.
Woo.
And it really is a missions trip. I will tell you that place is like heaven on earth.
Yeah,
And
it's
if I
so
could
fun.
move there, I'm gone. Scott, I'm out. Once
You
I can
can't.
move there, I'm out.
She can't.
Megan says no. I say yes. Anyway, so we need you guys. We need your help. And I will promise you this. You will be far more blessed than we could ever bless them.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
if you can give of your week and your time and be a short-term missionary, we need you.
And
If
they
you
can do that starting at age 16, right?
Yeah, about
Just-
16, yeah.
Yeah, just talk to me, 16,
Yep.
17,
Megan's
18.
coming with the youth kids.
Yeah.
We're going to take kids over there. It's
then adults.
life-changing. Young adults, yes.
Yep.
And then, but honestly, we have grandparents that serve.
Yeah.
Husband and wives that do it for the week. So we have that. We need donations for
We need-
scholarships.
yeah, we need your money.
Yeah, scholarships to help the STMs and to help the families get there.
Yeah, for
And then
sure.
last but not least, if you are a family that is affected by disabilities or you know someone, please go to our website, go to rancho.tv/Wagar, give them the information so they can register. It is life-changing. That week we take care of the whole family.
Yeah, and how do they give?
If you want to give, you can actually just write a check, drop it in the box when you're at the door, and just put Johnny and Friends or
In the
Special
memo?
Needs Camp in the memo.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I just want to share another exciting thing that we have coming up for our Community Mission of Hope. As you guys know, that is our rescue mission that we have where we help housing. We help to house the homeless and also to end hunger. So we have a really cool event that's coming. It's our CMOH Walk to End Hunger or Roll.
Yeah, we decided
think
we're going to roller
roller
We're
skate.
going to roller skate, which we never do. So that
I know,
should be
it's
worth
kind of
coming out
bumpy
for
down
right there.
Yeah. But it's going to be next Saturday, and everyone can come, and they're going to be walking through Old Town. It's going to be beautiful weather. It's going to be a great day to just kind of come out and show our support. You can register at ranch.tv/Wagar. Again, you can get all the details there on how to do that, and just it's a really great time to.
We're going to have fun.
I know, it's going to be tons
gonna
of
be
fun.
fun.
It's going to be fun. Live free, do good. Also, we're having, some of you guys might have seen, we have a big old diaper drive going on out there. We have a sign, we have like a big old crate. We are collecting diapers
Lots
for
of them.
one of my favorite ministries is My City Youth Ministry. It's an organization out in Hemet, just not too far down the road. And a lot of the kids there don't have the resources that we have here. There's a lot of poverty, a lot of gang violence, and just a lot of trauma that goes on with our kiddos. And so because of that, there are a lot more teen pregnancies that happen. And a lot of these youth start at 14 years old and they become pregnant. Sometimes they get kicked out of their house because they're just not living in a healthy home to begin with. So one of the things My City Life Youth does, just one little aspect and the reason we love them, is they have a mommy store. And they have a teen mom ministry. And so if you're a teen mom, you have nowhere to go. They kind of take you in and they kind of walk you through learning how to become a parent. And they have Bible studies and different things like that. So they really are just caring for these youth. And the cool thing is like when they bring home like a good report card or whatever, they get mommy bucks. And so the whole store is run on donations, but these kids have different ways, different things that they can do to earn these mommy bucks. And when they go into the store, there's like strollers and clothing and all of that stuff. But one of their biggest needs, of course, you guessed it, is diapers. So we want to bless the heck out of them.
We do. So we want lots of diapers.
Yeah.
Size 3-4 is what I've heard is preferred, but
Yeah.
we'll take any.
Yep.
And we just want to bless them. We're going to deliver them right before Mother's Day. And
Awesome.
as Megan said, a lot of them are 14, 15-year-old kids that their parents have kicked them out of the house. So what's so cool about My City Youth is that they're actually teaching the kids to be parents.
Yep.
They're actually trying to give them a better start so these kids have a better foundation.
Yeah.
And so if you can help us bless these moms, so us moms, let's rally.
Yes.
And let's bless the young moms, right? Because this is something we can do.
Yep.
And we want you guys to come for the next 2 weeks with tons of diapers.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just a super tangible way to really just be the hands and feet of Jesus for a hurting community.
Correct.
We have so much out here. Next time you're at Costco, make some room for a couple cases of diapers.
Yeah, we want you to do more than one if you can. 2,
Yeah.
3, and full boxes. Don't
needy.
split them open and take any out of there.
Yes.
And bring them out here, put them in the bin, take your picture in front of the screen, hashtag We Are Rancho on it, and let's just do this.
Let's get excited.
Yeah, let's
do
get
some
diapers
roller
out there.
skating and
Clean
diaper
diapers, clean
driving
diapers.
and all of the good stuff. All right, well, we want to welcome on up Scott and Jenny to our stage. They're going to be given a little bit of a conversation here about we're in our family circles messages. What's up, guys?
Good to see you all. It sounds
Hi.
like we might take mercy, justice, and love pretty seriously, considering
Yeah, I
all
have
we're
my
doing. That's
checklist
very
here. You make me do it. So.
exciting. Seriously, a lot of good stuff. There's one other thing going on that could be fun, and that is on May 16th.
16th,
So
yes.
we're going to have what I call sort of a family meeting. Put it on your calendar. You got to be there. We're going to be introducing Rancho 4.0, our grand reopening, which is actually May 23rd. So if you have any questions about, sort of where Rancho is going, our mission, our vision, what 2020 and 2021 has done in terms of shaping our church family and what we're going to do going forward, be there on May 16th. You can put out questions right now through this text number. You can text questions to 951-379-3795. If you have any questions about anything about where Rancho has been and where Rancho is going, put that on your calendar. It's going to be a very, very good time. There's been a lot of rumors swirling about where Rancho is going and all that stuff, and a lot of it is just completely entertainment to hear what people say. But we're going to talk about it explicitly on the 16th, Sunday night, so be here for that. Yep. Jenny, welcome. Who are you?
I don't know.
You are my wife.
You just found me and brought me up.
Some rando. Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Yes.
Appreciate it. We're going to talk about family today, so we're going through
Yes.
these circles of relationships. And this is week 2 of our new series talking about the circles of relationships in our lives. There's 7 of them. Today we're going to talk about family. Yep. And all of this is really centered on the love of Christ. I love Colossians 3:14. It says, above all, so this is the most important, clothe yourselves with love, which binds all together in perfect harmony. Let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your heart. So today we're talking about the circle of our home.
Yeah, so kind of just talking about loving and leading our family well. So Winston Churchill had a great quote, and he said this: there is no doubt that it is around the family and the home that all the greatest virtues are created, strengthened, and maintained. I just thought there's so much truth in that statement, right? I mean, that this is that first circle of relationships that is so impactful in our lives.
Right. And so when we introduced the series last week, when we talked about the 7 circles that we're in of relationships, family might be the lowest number of people in that circle. You're talking about spouse and kids and grandkids, that nuclear family. But it's the most important. It's right in the center. Every other relationship really depends on how healthy we are at home, because if the home life's not good, ain't nothing in life is good, right? That's just kind of how it goes. So today we're talking about loving and leading your family. And Jenny, when I first met you, your family that you grew up in was intimidating to me, because it was like this perfect beaver cleaver, well put together home. Your dad was a fire chief. I mean, oh my gosh, it's the most stereotypical thing you'd ever, and just a wonderful home life, committed marriage, 4 kids, on a farm. I mean, picking your own eggs in the morning, it's pretty ridiculous. I did not have that experience. I had opposite land. So when we met here at the church years ago, a lot of years ago, I was sort of intimidated by your family, but I was attracted to it because I had a hard time sort of wrapping my head around who I would be as a husband and who I would be as a father, and you really helped lead me into sort of that family mentality.
Yeah, well, thank you. No, I am very grateful for the family that I was raised in, and I've never really taken that for granted, because I'm just so grateful that my parents had a great, strong marriage and just really provided a good, solid upbringing for my siblings and I. Which I think is why I really did go into our marriage wanting to kind of have that same thing, just have a very strong marriage, have a very strong and healthy family life, to raise our kids in. So I am very passionate about family and marriage ministry. We have our marriage retreat coming up. This is a shameless plug that I'm going to throw out there, but it is September 10th through the 12th, and this is one of my favorite weekends of the year. I think it is important to kind of just get some time away and work on our marriage, because, with that strong marriage, it does trickle down into a strong and healthy family, I think.
Absolutely, and because of our story, I think we're so committed to marriages. And whether you're married now or will be married, or if you'll, have a calling to remain single, understanding the importance of that nuclear family is important, because we all come from a family. We all have parents. We all have siblings, perhaps. marriage and children, grandkids. So it's important for us to understand God's heart for that family. And I want us to know from the very beginning that there is no one size fits all for every family. Every family is different. And so, sometimes people go to church and they hear it's about family, they kind of roll their eyes, and we're going to be told everything we do wrong and have this incredibly high bar of perfection that no one can possibly attain. You're not going to get that here ever at this church. We'd like to keep it real, and one of the things that attracts us to the television show The Middle, which we're now going through for the third time, season
With
1.
Aubrey.
With Aubrey, okay, that's the excuse.
Yes.
Is it keeps it real. So here you have the Heck family, and the Heck family, they're the floater parents. And then you have the Donahues, which are the dialed-in family. So tell us about the Hecks.
Yeah, so the Hecks I would describe as kind of like the fly by the seat of your pants kind of a family, right? They just are always running late, always forgetting things, like forgetting trash day, forgetting parent-teacher conferences, forgetting their child on a few occasions. So just kind of, but yet obviously their family is so important, but they're just kind of, a little chaotic. And then the Donahues is their neighbors, and the Donahues are kind of seen as like the family that's totally dialed in, buttoned up. The Mrs. Donahue is the president of like all the PTAs, all the community events she's the president of. She has homemade meals every night. She's always taking the neighbors' homemade meals. And so just very different between the two families.
So are we more like the Hecks or are we more like the Donahues?
Depends on the day, I would say. Right? Some days definitely more like the Hecks, and some days definitely more like the Donahues. I think there was one episode just recently that we were watching, and Frankie, who's Mrs. Heck, they have to kind of just rearrange a bunch of plans because they need to watch their aunt's dog kind of last minute. And so the husband's complaining because they had a trip planned and they had to cancel the trip. So he's not happy. And she says to him, but we do for family. And I love that statement. I'm like, even though, life is crazy and kind of can be chaotic, but you do for your family. And so sometimes you may have to change your plans and rearrange things, but that's kind of what's the most important.
And that's part of the wonderful life of a family is it moves and it changes, and sometimes you expect this, it turns this way, and how we navigate those changes, how we navigate all of the interesting chaos that is every single family that ever was is important, because it's not about necessarily us attaining this level of perfection, but how do we live in the imperfection. I love this little prayer. It's kind of buried in the Old Testament, but it's a really cool prayer over households. It says, "Peace to you, and peace be to your house, and peace be to all that you have." And that peace is the word shalom. And maybe you're familiar with that Hebrew word shalom. It's a nice word. It's a rich word. It means to be sound and tranquil, content and positive. So it's not just about a lack of tension. It's about a deep sense of tranquility that comes from a positive environment, according to 1 Samuel, over our household. So how can we create a positive environment? That's what we're going to talk about today, because negativity is a killer.
Negativity is a killer. So negativity, kind of imagine, it's like an eroding force in a family, of a family in trouble. Little bits of negativity over time can build canyons between a marriage and between parents and kids, which we'll see like this visual right here that Scott's going to talk about a little bit.
Take a look at this picture, and you see this incredible canyon. It's beautiful, right? But how was it made? It was made by a little trickle of water over millions of years, right? And so families are like that, where negativity can be a little trickle of water that does so much damage, just eroding the soul of a family. And you might have been raised in a family that was a little negative or a lot of negative. You might be in a family right now, if you were to be honest, has little trickles of negativity where you're at each other and you're kind of barking at each other and you're bringing out the worst and you're highlighting failures, just grumpy. That little trickle of negativity can create a massive canyon between people, where you might have a family that's in real trouble, but not because of a major event, but because there's just this trickle of negativity that just grinds at you and wears at you and erodes the health of your family. And maybe your family's doing fine, but still negativity can be that very, very destructive force. So we've landed on 3 ways to create a positive environment at home. What's the first one?
So the first one is don't sweat the small stuff, like just something that's so important to remember. So Ephesians 4:2 says this: always be humble and gentle, be patient with each other, making allowances for each other's faults because of your love. I love that verse. So it's like, we need to be patient and humble and gentle with each other, but then that last part, but we need to make allowances for each other's faults, which I think that's really hard to do sometimes,
it's
right?
It's really hard to do. So let's talk about that. It's actually shocking to read that passage. Now, wait a minute. I have to make an allowance for faults in my household. That means I'm going to give space for failure. That doesn't even cross our minds. I mean, how many of us have had this conversation at home? You know what? We need to create space to allow each other to fail. No way. I mean, it's so shocking that there would be this kind of expression of love. It's almost as though God allows us. He gives us space to fail because he knows we're not perfect. So maybe we give others space to fail because they're not perfect. But that's a great risk. Why? Because if I give you space to fail, you might fail more.
Yeah.
If you give me space to fail, it means I might take advantage of that space and do things that you're not going to like. And so we don't give space to fail. We give very little margin to fail. And when somebody does, we've got to keep this in control. I didn't like that. I'm going to let you know I don't like that, so you never do it again.
Yeah.
And so creating space that we don't have perfect marriages, we don't have perfect kids, we're not perfect, gives space to fail. Now, this was kind of a big deal. There was a season in our marriage where we got a little negative. There was a bunch of kids in the house, and it was crazy.
A bunch of little kids around the house.
We were poor.
Yes. No, there was that season, though, and I was for sure was in a very negative season, I would say. And it was obviously directed to Scott. So he's very messy, so whatever. You guys now know this about him. And I should have clued into the fact of his messiness when we were dating, and I went and, drove in his truck for the first time. Like, the actual truck was kind of picked up, and then I opened the center console, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's growing in there?
I just call it alternative organization.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, still doing that.
I'm going to write a book on it.
No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so he's not as clean as I am. I kind of like, the house to be neat and tidy, but he didn't. So I would get very focused on all of the stuff that he was left out. And he left out a lot. Like, he would just leave clothes and shoes kind of everywhere. And so I was starting to get really nitpicky with that and just on him a lot about, you need to pick this up. Because I took it as he wasn't valuing what was important to me. And so that's why it became kind of a big deal in my mind.
So in your mind, what I was doing was disrespectful to you and it discounted you and your values. And so you interpreted that as a big deal and you responded as a big deal. In my head, I've been doing this my entire life. Right. This is a busy place. I'm making all kinds of excuses. Guys, you can use this. This is a busy place, and I thought, you know what? These shoes I'm going to wear tomorrow. Why take the 10 seconds and put them in the closet? I'm going to wear them tomorrow. They go on the side of the bed. What's the big deal, right? Same thing with, all kinds. Anyway, I'm going to use it tomorrow. I'm going to wear it tomorrow. Who cares? Nobody's going to see this. Jenny's the kind of person that makes her bed every day.
Yes.
I would never make my bed once in my life. Nobody's going to see my bed. I'm getting right into it in a few hours. I don't need that. So truly, we think differently in that regard. So to me, I was operating like it was a little deal. To her, it was a big deal. She came at me like it was a big deal. So it built resentment in me. So now we're kind of at a war about this thing. Now, I had to realize that I was actually disrespecting her. I had to wake up to that. I was. I may not have intended that early, but I was. And so how we dealt with this, we're both now, taking this to a level 10 when really it could have been solved fairly early. And you actually solved it. You took the lead to solve this issue.
Yeah, I remember this very specific thought in my head. I'm like, okay, we have a good marriage, but we really don't have a great marriage. Because we were just kind of just nitpicking each other, I felt like a lot. And so we had gone to a conference in the season, and then I'd read a couple books on marriage and was like, okay, I just need to start making some changes. I need to let this go and not let this bug me as much as it's bugging me. Because I knew I was kind of turning into that kind of that negative, nagging wife, and I'm like, I just don't like that about me. I don't want to be that. So I kind of stopped, and yeah. And I didn't tell him, though, I was stopping.
She didn't tell me, which I wasn't happy about that you didn't tell me. But I noticed it. I remember the day I noticed it, we were in our bedroom at the foot of our bed. You came into the room. You saw, clothes. Picked up the clothes, took it in the closet, put it away, and walked out, and you didn't say a word. I thought I was going to catch holy heck. And you just walked out, and I thought to myself, darn it, she made a change to better our marriage. How dare she take the lead on that, And it was great, and I actually kind of softened, I think, at that point. I started making some changes.
It was actually amazing, because then he kind of just started picking up his stuff without me even having to ask him. So it was a win-win.
But you led with love, and that's the key. Yeah. You could have nagged me for the rest of my life about that stuff, and I don't think I would have ever changed, because resentments would have built.
Right.
Because now you're not valuing me, because it's a little thing. Why are you on me like? So this is this back and forth thing. You led with love, not sweating the small stuff, and I thought, you know what? Good for you. I'm gonna make a few changes. And so she led that household in that way, which really helped end up making a better home. Yeah. This is true with kids as well. So we've got 4 kids. One of our twin boys, Tyler, he is...
Hopefully Tyler's not watching.
Yeah.
Sorry if you are.
He's a great kid. In sports, he was called Hoover behind the plate because he was a catcher and nothing would get by him. In football, he was a receiver and he had the best hands on the team. And yet he can't take a glass of water from one side of the room to the other without dropping it. No joke. He spills all the time.
All the time. Like when he was little, every night at the dinner table. Like,
every single night.
We're not exaggerating.
And it would just be, so we had a choice. Do we harp on him? Tyler, why'd you do that again? Why don't you be careful? You're never.
Yeah.
And after a while, we just realized that it's just gonna happen. What difference is it gonna make? We're not gonna make him feel bad. He spills something, he already feels bad. He's gotta clean it up. And so we started kind of making light of it.
Totally.
It's classic,
Became a joke.
Classic Tyler. That's what we say. Classic Tyler. Let's help him pick it up. So that's a small thing, just big deal. So he spills every day. Big deal. And of course, he got better after his kind of early teenage years, but still, he spilled the other day. He's 21 years old. It's like, we all started busting up. Classic Tyler, right? I love how Colossians 3 puts it. Clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. And that clothe yourselves, be totally enveloped in this. Kindness and patience toward each other. Over all these virtues, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect unity. So that idea of clothing with patience, as I said earlier in Ephesians, make room for faults. Keep the little deals the little deals. Every once in a while, you got to talk about a big thing. Even leaving clutter around the house, it would have been perfectly appropriate for you to say, hey, and I think you might have, I'm feeling disrespected. I'm feeling undervalued. Can we talk about that? Not jumping, blindsided, but can we have a discussion about this? Because this is how I feel. Sometimes you have to talk about things, and sometimes they are big deals. But just day to day, let the small stuff go. There's also encouraging each other as a way to build a positive household.
Yeah, I'd say for sure encouraging each other is so important. I think, it is easy sometimes for me sometimes to fall into that negativity. And then within that negativity, we can kind of become critical. So especially as we're talking about the family unit and in this circle, I think, spouses, we come from different backgrounds, different, upbringings. With our kids, they have different personalities, there's different values, and it's easy to be critical, especially if we've got 4 kids and their personalities are all very, very different. And, if there's a personality in your family that you may not mesh with very well, it's very easy to become critical of that person, right? So we have to really guard that and be very careful to not, be critical of one another. So really work on limiting criticism within your home and then just have an abundance of encouragement.
So limited criticism, unlimited encouragement. Sometimes there has to be criticism. You've got to address the real issues of a home. But limit that, right? Don't blindside each other. You may not want to be critical when emotions are hot, but just, kind of plan a calm time and talk about how we can improve our family. No big deal. But let encouragement be unlimited. Always be looking for ways to be positive with the people in your home. Galatians 5:15 says this, if you bite and devour one another, beware lest you be consumed by one another. So many households are biting and devouring each other, always criticizing, and it's this eroding of negativity. What is encouragement really at its core?
There's a great definition we found of encouragement, and it's giving another strength, giving another confidence, and giving another courage. So really that's kind of just that main purpose, right, in your marriage and in parenting, is that you want to see those people in your family thrive. And so they're going to thrive when you're encouraging them with the strength and encouraging them with confidence and encouraging with courage.
Yep. And I want to give you a little clue of what encouragement is not. Encouragement is not saying to somebody, I want to encourage you to lose a few pounds. Not encouragement. That's criticism called encouragement. That doesn't count. If you say something like that, you have to do 21 actual encouragements to make up for it. That is not encouragement. So encouragement really begins with words, right?
Yeah.
Encouraging words.
Yep, Proverbs 12:25 says this, anxiety weighs down the heart, but a kind word cheers it up. And I think to some degree, everybody's kind of weighed down from this last year, right? And there's just been a lot of things. So it's let's look at ways that we can lift each other up and encourage each other with our words. So something we're gonna, kind of challenge is each day try to say 1 or 2 very nice and kind things to those people who are in your family.
Right. So men, let's talk. All right, write this down. Use your words. Use your words. There's an assumption that men use fewer words than women. Have you heard that? That men use fewer words? That is absolutely not true. There's been over a dozen studies that indicate clearly that men use the same number of words in life, just not at home. I was with my buddies on my Friday morning golf round, and all we did was chat. 95% of it was trash talk, brutal trash talk, which is how we express affection. But we're talking. Men come home, we tend to get a little quieter. We tend to get in our heads a little bit more. So men, we just want to encourage you, use your words. So find specific ways to encourage your spouse and your kids. Talk about your spouse's hard work, their multitasking. Find something specific and encourage them for that. If they're good with their kids, they spend time with the kids, encourage them for that. Find ways to encourage their character. The other day, Jenny was making something for a family, very Nancy Donahue of you. And I said, hey, that's very, very kind of you to do that, It's calling out specific encouragements for character. Thanking them for just how much they do at work and carry all the burdens of, if they have a job and what they're doing around the house. Be very specific. Be very, very specific about their beauty. Specifically, I love your eyes, love your smile. That means so much to our spouses. And find ways to encourage your kids. Men, I'm telling you, this is one of the most important things you'll hear in your life. Your children live on your kind, encouraging words. They live on it. And not encouraging them to get better grades or encouraging them to be better at sports. That is a discouragement. Encouragement is, nice job. You got an A- on that quiz. You worked hard. I'm so proud of you. You picked up after yourself at the dinner table. That is so cool. You took that dish to that sink. That helps us all out. Things like that, where you're not calling out somebody. You're just thanking them for who they are. You're so kind and you're so nice to your brother and sister right there. That's where real change happens. Not constantly harping on your kids with the negative. That just builds resentment. And listen, by the time they're 12 or 13 years old and you've been harping on them to do better, game over. Because they're going to come right back at you with negativity, and I guarantee they're going to win that fight. Yeah. They're going to win. And we spend a lot of time kind of repairing homes that have become negative, which thankfully that is reparable. We can turn that around for sure, and it gets turned around by positive, encouraging words, particularly from dad in many respects.
Yeah, totally. So ladies, it's our turn to talk. So something just because I know for myself, like I said, I've struggled with this a little bit, but just trying to be more positive, like just always looking at ways to just be more positive. Because I know men don't like, women coming at them negative, in a negative way. And it just I've seen this, like when the mom's negative and it just kind of creates like a negative vibe in the home, right? And so it's just not a super fun place to be. So something, that's something I've really worked on is just trying not to be negative. And just be affirming, like use our words of encouragement to affirm our spouse and affirm our kids. So I think, especially with our spouses, sometimes men generally are going to gravitate to where they're affirmed. And so if, they're more affirmed at work or, with their friends, then they may gravitate and hang out more where they're going to be, affirmed. So just try to make sure that they're being affirmed at home. And that's something I did have to work on early on when our kids were little. But also just like Scott said, be specific, with your spouse, like just thank them for the work that they're doing. Thank them for, just being diligent about coming home after they've had, been at work all day. I mean, Scott was always great about this, about coming home and just playing with the kids. Like, I knew he was tired, but he kind of was like, at the door. I remember him saying this, like he was like, okay, that job's done now. My job at home is beginning. And he would just come in and hang out with the kids and play with them. And I always just appreciated that so much about him. And then affirming our kids. I mean, Scott kind of talked about this too, but just as moms, just make sure we're affirming them and encouraging them and just letting them know how much we appreciate the little things that they're doing, even when they're, just so little. My nephew's 2, and I just see him interacting with my sister-in-law and she's telling him a good job and his whole face just brights up. I mean, it's just so life-giving when we, are just using our words to encourage our kids.
And encouragement doesn't just come through words. Encouragement comes through time as well. That's focused time.
Right.
And that means so much to a family.
Totally. And I know like with our spouses, like Scott for sure is like, he loves one-on-one time. So I know like it's important for us to get out on our date nights and for us to actually get away on trips, which I love too, but it's always a little bit more work, I think, for the moms to leave, because we're having to coordinate everything. So sometimes I'm like, oh, it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. And I know it's a value for Scott. So you've probably all heard of the love languages. There's 5 love languages. Scott's for sure is quality time. So I know that that is a value for him, and I know that that will bring him encouragement when we, are together. And so I try to make that a priority in our
And as somebody who's, born family, Jenny's encouragement is to spend time with all of us. And so for my 50th birthday, she planned a one-on-one get-together. For her 50th birthday, which is coming up in about 12 and a half years, we planned a whole family trip, right? Yes. All 7 of us, including son-in-law. Yes. And so just trying to figure out what kind of time we value. Same thing with the kids. Do the kids value all being together? Does one kid value that one-on-one? Just try to discern where the value of the other comes in terms of spending time. I love how Ephesians 5:15 puts it. Now, this is in the context of family. Be careful how you live. Make the most of every opportunity. And that's real key. We have a limited amount of time, especially with our kids. So really thinking through, how can I make the most of this time that I have with my kids, and plan that out. The final thing we want to talk about is having fun. That builds a positive family atmosphere
this is
as
probably
well.
my favorite. I love this. I just think it's so important to create that fun. So in Ecclesiastes 8:15, I love this verse. It says this: so I recommend having fun, because there's nothing better for people in this world than to eat, drink, and enjoy life. That way they will experience some happiness along with all the hard work God has given them under the sun.
I love that. Here's King Solomon, and he's at the end of his life. So the book of Ecclesiastes, just think of it as a grumpy old man on his porch. That's kind of what Ecclesiastes is all about. And every once in a while, he just says things that actually kind of ridiculous, that everything's in vain, nothing matters. That's a grumpy old man on his porch. But every once in a while, he looks back on his life and he says, you know what? This is what I've learned. And what does he say? Have fun. He says, life is full of toil. And we know that life is full of toil. Right? We live in a world that's in turmoil right now. Pastor Dion talked about some of the turmoil we're experiencing as a country. This world is kind of weighty. And so for us to, at home, say, we're going to have a good time. We're going to plan fun. Some of it's spontaneous, but we're going to plan this out as well. The pandemic, for some families, helped us to have some planned fun, because we're all kind of piled together over a period of months. And we decided to do something even around doing dishes.
Yeah, so there's 7 now, at home during the pandemic, because everybody came home, including our son-in-law with April. So we, I think it was one of the boys' idea, but we decided we like the TV show Survivor. So we decided to turn dishes, the evening dishes, into like a Survivor game. Yeah, sorry. Having a hard time getting my words out. So we, every night we'd have tribal council, and so the kids would kind of vote on who was gonna have to do dishes that night. And so they were forming little alliances during the week. And we just had a ton of fun. It took a lot of time, but we had a lot of time, right? And so, but we just had a lot of fun.
You'd go to a room, a camera would be going, you write down the name, and then we'd watch it was a whole video production. It took us about a half an hour to find out who was doing dishes that night.
Right.
And then the person who didn't get voted all week had the next week off.
Right, they had the next week off. And guess who never did dishes the entire time? Because Aubrey felt bad and didn't want to ever vote him out.
Don't blame on Aubrey.
Never did
Don't blame
dishes.
it on Aubrey.
And it made the other kids so mad.
But just have fun. Have fun. That could be so important. Well, Jenny, it's been good.
Yes,
Don't sweat the small stuff. Encouraging words, encouraging time, and have fun. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Appreciate it, Jenny. The band is going to come up, and we're going to close with a final song. And that final song is such a good message for us, that love is not a fight, but love is worth fighting for. And so as they come up and join us today, just think through this message, that love is worth fighting for, because this stuff isn't easy. Not sweating the small stuff isn't easy. Encouraging words isn't easy. We've got to kind of build new habits, right? Build new ways around the family. It's not easy planning fun when our life is up to here with a bunch of stuff. But what our world needs more than anything else is a positive family. Because if all of us can have a positive family life, we're going to pour that positivity into our marriage. We're going to pour that positivity into our kids and our grandkids. And that will create a positivity that goes to our friends and our workplace and our church, and it will go to our community and eventually go to our world. And that's the track we're following through this Circle series, because Jesus has a vision of love changing the world. He modeled that in his own life. He lived a life of love. He lived a life of sacrifice, living for the benefit of others. It even cost him his life. But it was love that rose Jesus from the dead, and his love is in us now, and it begins at home. It begins at home. So love, in fact, is worth fighting for. Take a listen.
Love is not a place to come and go as we please. It's a house we enter in and then commit to never leave. So lock the door behind you and throw away the key. We'll work this out together. Let it bring us to our knees. Love is a shelter in a raging storm. Love is a peace in the middle of a war. And if we try to leave, may God send angels to guard the door. 'Cause love is not a fight, oh, but it's something worth fighting for. To some, love is a word they can fall into, but when they're falling out, keeping that word is hard to do. Love is a shelter in a raging storm. Love is a peace in the middle of a war. And if we try to leave, may God send angels to guard the door. 'Cause love is not a fight, oh, but it's something worth fighting for. And love will come to save us if we'll only call. He will ask nothing from us, but demand we give our all. Love is a shelter in a raging storm. Love is a peace in the middle of a war. And if we try to leave, may God send angels to guard the door. 'Cause love is not a fight, oh, but it's something worth fighting for. I will fight for you. Will you fight for me? Oh.
Thank you so much. I literally just got word from Pastor Dion that there's another shooting in Texas. And I don't know any details, but this just has to stop. We are such a violent people. America is a violent, violent nation. Violence in our streets, violence in our cities, murder rates. This has to stop. And there's some days, I did not mean to end like this, but there's some days that I just feel like, really, is there ever going to be a point where we turn around as a country, we look at each other and say, we're not enemies. We have different politics, different ethnic backgrounds, but we're not enemies. We're brothers, we're sisters, we're Americans. God's a God of love. You know, can't we just pull this together? And that includes all kinds of issues when it comes to this level of violence. It includes how we just love the mentally ill and care for the mentally ill, how we handle racial tensions, political tensions, community tensions. Love is worth fighting for. And we talked about that being, you know, first in our homes, and that is true. But it has to get to the streets of America. It has to get to the lives of people who are